Hi guys, I'm Michael and I'm a freelance graphic designer. If you are someone who is struggling to find consistent clients and projects, then this video is for you. As designers, we don't just have to practice our skills and be better at our craft. We also have financial obligations, we have bills to pay and mouths to feed. So it is important that we have a consistent stream of income from paid work. So in this video, I will share my thoughts on how you can get freelance clients as a graphic designer. And these are all based on things that worked for me and my experiences in the past. If you are here, then you've probably heard of the tip to just post your work or build your online presence. These are all helpful tips and I will touch on this later in the video. But there are graphic designers who post their amazing works consistently but are still struggling to find clients. I think visibility is just the first step of getting clients. The truth is, getting clients doesn't just end with posting your work or getting inquiries. You actually have to close deals. And the best way to illustrate this is by using the sales funnel framework. The way that I'll structure this video is we'll divide and simplify the funnel into 3 stages, which is the know, like, and trust, or the KLT concept. So the KLT concept is not something that I came up with. This is actually a well-known marketing concept in selling products, but it also applies to getting clients as well. Because essentially, we are not selling products, but we are selling our services. So there's this statement that says, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. So every potential client actually goes through this funnel before you convert him to a paying customer. So by the end of this video, you'll know some specific actionable steps that you can implement so you can be better at each stage of the funnel and hopefully land your first ever paying client. So the first stage of the funnel is know. So the key to being known is by consistently putting yourself out there. So this means dedicating the time to put up design work and engage you with a much wider audience for them to see what you are capable of doing. It can be a daunting thing to post your work on social media, share your designs to family, friends, or connections, but getting clients is only possible if you let them know that you exist. My first tip under this stage is to embrace the identity. So this basically means telling your close circle, online connections, basically telling everyone that you are a graphic designer open for work. So I myself struggled with this when I was starting out. So I was very shy and hesitant to share what I do, that I'm a graphic designer now, and I was just keeping it to just a handful of people to know. But fully accepting your identity as a graphic designer opens up more opportunities for you, and you'll be surprised with how much support you can get from people who are very close to you. So having this identity also makes it easier for you to commit to this career, and there's much less resistance in terms of showing up once you have fully embraced it. The first few months can be very rough and challenging, and letting your family, friends, and connections know that you are open for design work can really help you get started, and they could possibly, spread the word to other people. And there's really no shame in saying that you got your first few clients from, people that are very close to you. Another way of letting others know is by optimizing your profiles in social media. So add your name or your brand name, add a short description of what you do and the services that you offer, add there your email address, and also if you have a website, you can put it as well. So my point here is you have to make it easier for other people to connect with you. Don't let them go through multiple steps just to send you a message. Everything must be present in your profile so they can contact you easily. Platforms such as Instagram now has this tag or category under profile, so you can utilize that feature to, get more reach and more visits to your account. So if I use the graphic designer tag, for example, it allows me to be part of this list of accounts under this category. I believe that this can help a little in terms of search because, for example, a potential client clicks on another designer, there is a chance that you will appear in a suggested accounts as well. But what would make more impact is not by doing your profile, but by actually using social media. Right now, we live in a highly digital world and everyone uses social media. Like everyone has Facebook, everyone uses Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube. And personally, I see no reason why I shouldn't use social media to get clients. Currently, I work with clients from all over the world, and I don't think that would have been possible like 20 years ago. Like what I said in my recent video, I always like to be present in all social media platforms, but I only focus actively on 1 to 2 platforms. So there are lots of tutorials that talks about social media marketing. You can literally just do a Google search or YouTube search, and they tell you how to grow your audience, your account, and your following. But I personally want to talk about my strategy on how I create content for all these platforms, even with just one project. So here's how I do it. Okay, so my top priorities are YouTube and Instagram. So here's a branding and packaging design project for a beer brand that I uploaded on YouTube. So I went through the entire process from ideation and mood board to concepts to the final design and finally some mock-ups. Now that I have the clips and assets from this video, I can now go to Instagram and then transform this about 12-minute video to a 30-second Instagram reel. And this wouldn't really take me a lot of time because I already have the assets and the final design. It's just a matter of converting all of these to another form, a much shorter form. And since TikTok is also a video platform, you can use the same video from Instagram and upload it to TikTok. One tip that I'll share here is I do all of my editing using a third-party app like CapCut. That way, when I upload an Instagram video, it wouldn't have the Instagram watermark on it. And in that way, it would appear like a fresh content on TikTok and not something that is, reused or re-uploaded. I then go to my passive ones, which are Behance and Dribbble. So for these websites, I just create presentations with all of the mock-ups and then I upload it as a separate project. If you are someone who uses LinkedIn, you can then create like a post, like an engaging post about this project. And similarly, you can go to Pinterest and upload like individual images, mock-ups into separate posts. You can use hashtags and then link all of these to your website or your Instagram page. You can then go to quality Facebook groups and you can post similar to what you did on LinkedIn. Other designers also set up like a Discord page and then they can engage directly with like their supporters and their followers. And then lastly, you can explore other places. You can go to Reddit and find like different subreddits related to graphic design. You can also go to Adobe subreddits and other related places. So the things that you can post in social media are essentially limitless. You are not limited to just posting client work. Because client work can have like delays. You have to wait for the official brand launch or for them to put up the design before you can post anything. I think your social media should be a good mix of client work and personal or passion projects. So personal or passion projects usually have more flexibility. You are free to design whatever you want in what particular style that you want. Client work, on the other hand, of course, has a lot more constraints. But showing them in social media makes you more credible. It shows that you can work with real projects, real people, real organization, and it gives a lot of confidence to your potential client. Again, you can start with your family and friends and make them your client. So in social media, you don't have to post just your finished work. You can give them a preview of the behind the scenes, show them your process, the work in progress, and you can even jump onto some trends. So my next tip is to help the algorithm, and this is still related to social media. Once you have figured out the 1 to 2 social media platforms where you want to focus your energy, you have to take the extra step in figuring out how these platforms work. So for example, on Instagram. So right now I see a lot of designers who post only like images. If you have a lot of following, sure, you can do that. That could work for you. I think posting just photos or pictures is like a thing of a past. Instagram right now is really trying to be more of like a video platform. So I think the best way to leverage that is to create reels or more video content. That way, Instagram will push you to more accounts and more people to see your profile and your works. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is that it's important to know how a platform works, what are the new features they are currently rolling out, and what are their current market strategies. That way you can leverage and you can adapt to the changing infrastructure of social media. And then another way to help the algorithm is by using SEO or search engine optimization. So basically, these are tools that help you appear more or rank more in search. So this is a very extensive topic, and in this video, I'm just touching like a tip of the iceberg. But my approach is very simple. I just use tags whenever possible. So again, for Instagram and or TikTok, you have to make use of the hashtags and categories. And then for Behance, you have to maximize the tag feature. And I swear to you, this really works. So let me show it to you. So this project, for example, before I even upload it, I will use tags. And then Behance gives us 10 tags to use here. So I will use words like brand identity, packaging design, and I also use more descriptive tags like colorful design or playful design, and some which are more categorical like ice cream branding, food branding, or lifestyle branding. So all of these may seem irrelevant or even insignificant, but I tell you, I've tested out projects before, one with tags and the other one without tag. And the first one performs significantly better than the other one. So if someone has, for example, an ice cream project, maybe branding and packaging, and then you use these terms in your tags, you'll most likely appear in search. So don't miss out on these features because it really helps the algorithm connect you to the right people. The next one is networking. I think while you are building your social media presence, it may be necessary to work on like networks or relationship outside the digital realm. If you combine like social media presence with personal connections, you significantly improve or increase your chances of getting a client. So what you can do here, and personally something that I'd like to do more of, is to attend like design conferences, like seminars, business expo, and even like local meetups with my fellow designers or like entrepreneurs. So another strategy that I want to share under networking is working with other creatives in a different field. So for example, you can work with a local food photographer. So if you have a branding project, you can refer that person to your client to take the product photos of the brand. And then that same person can refer you to his client who is looking for a brand designer for a new project, for example. So this setup would be mutually beneficial for both you and that person, and it's honestly a win-win situation for both of you. Lastly, you can do outbound marketing or cold outreach. So this one is done by actively reaching out to brands, businesses, and individuals who may need your help as a graphic designer. So what you can do here is you can write professional emails or DMs and you can send it to them, ask them if they need help with anything. I think the hardest part of cold outreach is actually figuring out where to send that email or that message. So from my experience, don't underestimate the power of sending a DM in their brand's social media accounts. So some brands do reply, or at least they give you an email where you can send your proposal. One thing to note here is you have to keep it professional, and you really have to put an effort into crafting like a well thought of message or email for them. Maybe you can start this by writing about who you are and what you do, and then you can proceed to writing about your intentions and how do you plan to help them. And then lastly, don't forget to attach like a PDF version of your portfolio, and you can also include your design packages. So this one is my least favorite out of all the options I've presented because it requires a lot of work and time, and usually the conversion rate is very low, around 1 to 5%. So imagine sending 100 emails and then you only get 1 to 5 replies out of those, which I think takes a lot of time, and I would much rather invest those time in creating content. That way I can have like clients reaching out to me. I think that is much more like time efficient, and I already know that they are looking for a graphic designer because they reach out to me, so I don't really have to, figure out if they need help. So these are my tips under the no category. Again, our goal here is to increase our visibility, build an online presence, and let everyone know that we are a designer looking for work. Now we move on to the next part, which is like. So it's not just important that they know you, they also have to like you as well. So here are some things that you can do to be likable. So the first one is finding your style. So having a unique style will really set you apart from other designers. It is your signature, your trademark, making your work easily recognizable. So this would probably come a little bit later in your design journey once you've done like a considerable amount of work, you've been exposed to a lot of designs, and you have finally figured out which one or which style you prefer to work with. So you can be someone that does clean, minimalist designs, colorful and vibrant work, unconventional or rebellious. You can do just flat designs, or you can do a lot of 3D effect. So whatever it is that you plan to specialize on, if you have a particular style, it's very easy to create a personal brand that people will know and remember you for. It also makes it easier for you to master specific skills or techniques associated with that style. So for example, someone who does retro has a mastery of like grunges, halftones, vintage illustrations, and vintage typography. And this really makes you an expert in that field. So the thing is, clients usually have like a specific vision for their brand or for the project. And some clients even come up with their own Pinterest boards. And if they see that what they envision is similar to what you do or your style, then that's already a step closer to having that client inquire about your services. So an alternative way of niching down is finding your industry. Having just one style can be very limiting at times. Creatives such as illustrators can definitely benefit from having a distinct style. But for someone like a brand designer who works with a lot of clients and has to accommodate to a wider range of styles, it may be more strategic and more like effective for you to just niche down to a particular industry. So working for a particular industry has a lot of advantages. As you work on various projects in that industry, you'll start to have like a deeper understanding of that field. So in the eyes of a potential client, there is a perceived thought that you are someone who is very knowledgeable about the market trends, the competition, or the challenges in that specific industry. And that makes you very valuable to them because they see you as someone who can help them, someone who truly understands the brand. And there's a higher chance that they'll choose you more than someone who is like a generalist. So don't get me wrong, being a generalist as a graphic designer is totally fine. But if you're really looking to, position yourself as an expert of the field, you may have to start thinking about niching down eventually. So right now, I just work with food and lifestyle brands. Because I niche down to this specific industry, clients appreciate me more because I'm more knowledgeable about like packaging design. I know the trends in consumer packaged goods, and I also know the designs that work well for like skincare branding. So some designers just do like sports brand, and some designers work on specific beverage brands like spirits and liquors. So what we're doing here is similar to how online dating works. So if a client lands on your page and they see that what you specialize on is similar to what they're looking for, then that makes it very easy to open up the conversation because you have the same interest and you are on the same page. So some may argue that niching down to get clients is counterintuitive because you are narrowing down to just a specific style or a specific industry and a very specific group of people. But the reality is niching down lets you attract the right kind of people for you. Meaning that the likelihood of getting them as a client is very high because essentially you're already like pre-qualified by the client. So my third point under this category is to just be human. When we talk about getting clients, we often think that it's just our design work, our portfolio that really matters. But what you have to realize is that your greatest asset is still yourself. So we often forget that how we interact and how we present ourselves are also part of the process. So my point here really is for you to be likable, you have to be someone that people actually wants to work with. Being human is also letting them see the person behind the brand. So this is something that I'm currently working on. So for example, this channel started as a faceless and a voiceless channel. And while it has performed well, when I transitioned to showing up more and letting them know that there's a real person behind this brand, it allowed me to connect with them in a deeper level, I guess. So the good thing here is you can just be yourself. So you don't have to be extroverted or jolly if that's not you in real life. I think what matters most is you create really genuine connections and conversations. You have to be respectful and professional, but you may want to inject a little bit of personality in your brand. Having these interactions and building deeper connections really help you build rapport, and it really makes it easier to close deals, in my opinion. When you get someone to hop on that initial call, it is a good opportunity for you to get to know him better and to see if it's a good fit. And that initial call may also reveal some of the red flags of that person. So you get to assess if it's worth continuing or proceeding with the project, because as much as we want to get new clients, we also don't want to be taken advantage of, because there are really some who like to undervalue our work and give us false promises. So respect begets respect, and we want to work with someone who respects us in the same manner that we respect them. Of course, we don't stop at this stage, because the last piece of the puzzle is trust. When it comes to getting clients, I think trust is everything. So think about this. Essentially, you're telling someone that you barely know, and someone you just met on social media, to give you their hard-earned money in exchange for your service. I think that requires a lot of trust. When I think of gaining someone's trust, I think it's really all about giving that potential client the confidence. The confidence that you have what it takes to do the job. So you really have to make them feel that this decision of hiring you is more of like a calculated risk, instead of it feeling more of like, a gamble. So here are some of my tips on how to be a trusted designer. The first one is to improve the quality of your work. If you are someone who shows up consistently and then you pair that with putting out quality works every time, I think the more a potential client would trust you. As you continue to practice your skills and be exposed to quality work, you begin to have better taste in terms of design. So for example, you have a design that you did maybe like a few years ago. Then when you look at that design, you start to hate how it looks. And I think this is a good thing, because this means that your taste has improved and the standards that you have set for yourself is no longer the same as before. I'm bringing this up because I think it applies to getting clients as well. From my experience, clients come to you with, let's say, a specific set of standards. Some are not visually critical, but some do have very high standards. And I think one way of winning their trust is if your current skill level is the same or higher than the standards that they have set. So for you to work with clients with higher standards and possibly higher budgets, it's important that you always bring up your game and then you improve the quality of your work every time. The projects that you put in your portfolio must be revisited from time to time, and you have to make sure that it is a representation of your current skill level. That way, when a client sees your portfolio and it matches the standards that they have set, it gives them the confidence that you will nail the project that they have for you as well. My second tip is showing case studies in your design process. Case studies are amazing because it gives someone an idea of how you took a project from ideation to the final output. So when you present your work on Behance or on your website, you can also include the project goals, the objectives. You can also touch on your roles in the project and how your involvement really helped the project. So did you do a more cohesive branding for their business? Did it gain more visual appeal because of your involvement? Or did the brand generate more sales because of your design? So showing these positions you to a much higher level, because you're not just someone who creates great visuals and cute stuff, but you are actually a critical thinker, a good advisor, and someone who recognizes problems and knows how to solve them. You can also do videos or content that talks about your processes as a designer. I think it's important that you take them through the journey from, discovery call to file turnover. And on your website, there must be a dedicated section that outlines the steps and what to expect under each stage of the process. This gives them the confidence because they know what to expect and they know what they're getting when they work with you. And this is a great way to gain someone's trust because you have shown them that you are someone who delivers results. You are someone who can take them from point A to point B, and you have the processes in place to take them through that journey. My third tip is to create a memorable working experience and of course to deliver exceptional work. This tip applies to when you already have a client. I always say that the best client is someone that you have already worked with in the past. I say this because working with a retainer client or a repeat client already removes some of the barriers that you have when working with a new client. There's already a certain level of trust that has been established. You already have a proof of work and you have already adjusted to how you work with each other. But having a repeat client is only possible if you've given them a pleasurable experience in that first project. So my tip here is the famous line that you must under-promise but over-deliver. You have to give them the experience that they would want to hire you again for a new project. In many years of being a graphic designer, I figured out that clients usually prefer to work with just a handful of designers, if not just one. I think this is because the process of hiring and finding a new designer can be time-consuming and very tedious. So if they had a great experience working with you, they would much rather hire you than go through the process of sorting out new designers again. I'm very thankful to have clients that I've worked with for 4 years, 2 years, or even a year, and they always come back and have new projects for me. And because they already trust me, they also give me referrals. So they refer me to their connections, a new business, or another brand. To have someone back you up and personally vouch for you, that's already a big deal because essentially you are already pre-qualified by someone that they trust. This is great because you are expanding your network to a much bigger scale. It relieves you of the pressure and the stress of having to find new clients every time. My next point is to load up on testimonials. So when you finish projects, aside from referrals, you can also ask for testimonials. So testimonials serve as a social proof, helping you convince your prospects that your offering or your service is actually worth their investment. So this can be in the form of written statement from your past clients, but I think a more compelling and more real, in my opinion, is to have this in video format. One analogy that I want to mention here is that testimonials is similar to online shopping. So personally, I wouldn't buy a product without first seeing what others have said about it. And similarly, clients look for testimonials to gauge the quality of your work or service. They do this as a form of like reassurance or trust, and it gives them a preview or like an insight of what it's like working with you. My last point is to leverage on word of mouth. As you show up more, connect with more people, and deliver great projects, the more people will talk about you and share their experience working with you. This is where word of mouth comes in. It is generally considered to have a very high conversion rate in terms of getting clients. I like word of mouth because it's sort of like a reward for doing all of the tips that I've mentioned in this video. It doesn't require additional investment on your end because what happens is people are doing the work for you and it builds a lot of reputation and credibility. So all of this goes back to the know part. So it's like a cycle that you keep doing and then you build momentum and soon you'll find yourself flooded with inquiries and booking clients consistently. So I will put here a summary of all of the tips under each category that I've mentioned in this video. Getting clients can be very hard when starting out, but I promise you it gets better. It's really all about momentum. The more deals you close, the more confident you become, and then you slowly increase how much you charge per project, and soon you'll find yourself, booking high-ticket, high-paying clients. But for all of these to happen, it requires a lot of effort and most especially action. All of these tips would be put to waste if we don't apply them and put them into action. I truly hope that this video is very helpful to you. I think getting clients is one of the most asked questions in the graphic design community, and I'm happy to share, my thoughts and experiences with you. If this video has helped you book your first ever paying client, I hope you go back to this video and share your experience in the comment section below. Thank you for joining me today. Again, like, share, and subscribe for more graphic design content, and may all your inbox be filled with yes. So keep creating, keep inspiring, and keep designing, and I'll see you in the next video.